All right, so this is going to be another movie review. This one's called Messenger of Death, 1988. This is going to be another Karate Man recommendation. The movie poster looks cool. This is going to be another Canon, J. Lee Thompson collaboration. Giving it 3 out of 5 stars. I thought it was all right. It was as good as 10 to Midnight or Murphy's Law. But it's a Bronson Canon film, so of course, Karate Man had to recommend it anyways because he's a hardcore Bronson fan. He's a hardcore Jean-Claude Van Damme fan. But he won't do early Bronson or much in the way of more recent Van Damme. Unless you consider Death Wish early Bronson. But I'm talking about Big House USA. Anyways, Messenger of Death is a 1988 U.S. vigilante action thriller film starring Charles Bronson. It is about an attempt by a water company to start a family feud among fundamentalist Mormons to take the family's land for the company. So these fundamentalist Mormons believe in blood atonement. Whatever that is. I have no idea what the hell this Protestant doctrine is about, nor do I care how many splinter groups they form in Denver. All right. The movie marks the 8th collaboration between Bronson and director J. Lee Thompson, following 1976's St. Ives, 1977's The White Buffalo, 1980's Cobo Blanco, 1983's 10 to Midnight, 1984's The Evil That Men Do, 1986's Murphy Law, and 1987's Death Wish 4, The Crackdown, which I agree with Karate Man is the best of the Death Wish series, although I haven't seen the first Death Wish, so I can't really say. Anyways, nobody in the chat room. Children outside a rural Colorado home. They belong to Orville Beecham and its 3 wives. 2 masked men pull up in a truck and wait for the children to go inside. They proceed to kill the 3 mothers, who are sister wives, and their children. What are sister wives? Anyway, the police arrive before the father, Orville, who returns to find his family massacred. Arriving on the scene with the chief of police, Barney Doyle is a Denver newspaper reporter, Garrett Smith. So here we have Charles Bronson not playing an agent of the state, but rather a news reporter. That's kind of weak. He's carrying around a shotgun, but he doesn't look too tough in this one. He looks like Grandpa running around in an oversized jacket. They were they were having lunch with a wealthy local businessman, Homer Fox, to discuss how to get Barney elected Denver mayor when Barney was called about the murders. Garrett does a news story on the massacre. Orville is in the local jail there for his own protection. They just stick him in jail so that his brother won't kill him. Orville is reluctant to talk to Garrett, but does reveal that his father, Willis Beecham, may have been involved. Willis lives in a compound with his followers. He is excommunicated fundamentalist Mormon who practices polygamy, as do his son and followers. Willis is the sex prophet, and it's played by one of the actors from Seconds, one of the blacklisted actors from the Red Scare era. Willis tells the reporter that he believes that it was his brother, Zenas Beecham, who killed Orville's family. Willis and Zenas are alienated from each other by a doctrinal dispute. All right. Distributed by Canon Films. Release date September 16th, 1988. Running time 91 minutes. Country United States. Language English. Budget unknown. Box office $3,774,681. Doesn't seem like much of a box office success, but we don't know the budget or the marketing expense for this. We just know that Canon folded shortly afterwards, or at least it it faced financial doom and the two brothers split, something like that. All right. So while Willis and Zenith split each other over a doctrinal dispute, the Cannon the Cannon group brothers of Golan and Globus, they they were splitting over money issues. Garrett, aided by a local editor named Jostra Watson, begins to investigate if Zenith could be behind the killings. Zenith lives in a different Colorado county on a large farm that happens to sit on an artisan lake that a large corporation, the Colorado Water Company, has wanted for years. Here we have greedy white male swine of a capitalist pig mixing up the plot, and there's a cool whodunit at the end of this. There's a nice explosion of Bronson's vehicle that he's loaning from the local newspaper lady who seems to have the hots for Grandpa. And the ending was decent. I like the ending. The rest of the movie just kind of played like a television movie. There's no nudity or much violence to speak of. It's just a soap opera about a bunch of Mormons fighting with each other over water. So the plot leaves much to be desired in this. And I'm being generous with the 3 out of 5 because the ratings for this are probably lower than that if we go farther down here. Zenith tells the reporter that Willis probably killed the family of his own son because Willis preaches blood atonement. The symbol of both brothers is an avenging angel, which is allegedly to be, which is alleged to be an early Mormon symbol with a doctrinal counterpart reflecting the idea of blood atonement. Now, I'm confused about the doctrinal dispute, and maybe it has something to do with the different splinter groups of Protestants in general, but maybe somebody can explain that to me because I missed that part. As soon as Orville is released from jail, he returns to his father's compound and he plots to attack Zenas. In retaliation, Garrett tries to warn Zenas, but it's too late. Armed men back each man, and they open fire. Garrett gets them to agree to a ceasefire, but a third party shoots Zenas, not one of the followers, and the shooting begins again. Zenas and Willis both are killed. First, he faked a heart attack, and the funeral was bogus. It was an empty coffin. Bronson shot the coffin with his shotgun, and he opened it, and it was empty. That was all staged. Anyway, Garrett realizes what is happening. We don't know why. We don't know why Willis faked his death, but it doesn't matter because he's dead anyway. Garrett realizes what is happening. The Colorado Water Company is behind everything. The company has hired an assassin and a junior partner to murder Orville's family, counting on the feud between the brothers to eliminate the rest. That's a pretty clever ploy. But we don't find out who's really behind it until Bronson starts kicking and throwing this guy around the stairs. Anyways, Garrett is approached by the junior assassin to make a deal, but the junior assassin is the serial killer from 10 to Midnight. I recognize him because he was naked throughout the entire movie. 10 to Midnight. They kept showing his arse, but when they did a frontal, his dingling was blacked out because it was too dark or something. Anyways, funny camera tricks. Anyway, the senior assassin kills his partner, the junior assassin, in the restroom with the knife. And of course, Charles Bronson is able to fight off a knife or a guy with a gun. No problem. Charles Bronson has a special movie skill where he can combat any kind of weapon. It turns out that the person who hired the assassin is Fox. The businessman tried to get the police chief elected mayor. Wasn't that nice? This nice guy who loves to take out Charles Bronson and this blondie with nice cleavage. She's hanging out with him. I have no idea what her relationship is with Bronson. That isn't explained to me other than coworker, I guess. Sidekick, coworker? I don't know. Anyways, the assassin shows up at a fundraising party for Doyle thrown by Fox, where he attempts to kill Garrett. The reporter gains the upper hand by tossing him around the mansion like a rag doll, and he gets the assassin to reveal that it was Fox who was responsible for all the murders because he's got some kind of financial interest in a water company that was sold to some other elderly dude and his sugar mama. I mean, his sugar baby, his trophy bride is in on the water stuff too. I'm not sure how they're connected to each other. It's explained at the end, but I still couldn't get it because I'm too dumb apparently, and I don't know what the heck is going on in this movie. Anyway, the film was based on the novel The Avenging Angel by Rex Burns, which was published in 1983. It was the fifth in a series of novels starring Denver detective Gabe Wager. The New York Times said there was plenty of action in the book, culminating in a real Western shootout. And of course, we learn a lot, perhaps more than we want to, about Wager's emotional life. Still, Mr. Burns is a skillful and sensitive writer, and The Avenging Angel moves in a big logical curve up to its wingding ending. It is a welcome as its predecessors. It is as welcome as its predecessors. Filming took place in LA and Colorado in 1987. Bronson had just made Death Wish 4, and he expressed interest in making different types of films. I prefer to play different characters in films, and I wouldn't want to be in a weekly TV series. I imagine a lot of series stars fall asleep playing the same guy every week. Some of them relax when they know their show is signed for a whole season. I admire Tom Selleck. He keeps bringing new things to his series. It's a nice script, said co-star Trish Van Devere. It's a Charles Bronson movie without much violence. I think that's why it interested him. That's why it doesn't interest me. Marilyn Hassett said it's nice to be playing just an ordinary all-American girl after a career cast as serious, emotionally disturbed, or crippled people. In the New York Times, Richard F. Shepard wrote that if the film were a novel, it could be called a decent page turner, one that holds the eye and makes one wonder who done it. Mr. Bronson is more a messenger of peace, an intermediary between the two warring factions, who is more shot upon than shooting. He does not even tote a gun in the movie. Bronson fans need not worry that their hero and his movies are going soft, however. There are enough bodies, car crushings, and lingering scenes of victims crossing over into death to slake any aficionado's thirst for blood. In the Los Angeles Times, Kevin Thomas called it a solid, efficient mystery, crisply directed by J. Lee Thompson, a genre piece from start to finish, nothing more, nothing less. But its cast is effective and it gains from its Colorado locations, which include two religious communities that have the look of the real thing. All right. If you thought 10 to Midnight was too violent, too much nudity, this is like polar opposite. Bronson is playing a peacenik, but in the movie poster, he's got a shotgun. And it looks like he's going to stir up some kind of shootout. But in the movie, he's actually trying to negotiate a ceasefire. Messenger of Death, 1988. 1 hour, 31 minutes. 5.4 out of 10. Mediocre rating. I'm actually rating it a little bit higher than that. 3,500 ratings. A Denver reporter investigates the mass murder of a family of Mormons in rural Colorado. Woohoo! Now that is exciting. Just kidding. So on the DVD cover or the movie poster or whatever, it just has Bronson in his oversized jacket and his jeans with his gray patchy hair and the mustache. He's got the mustache going. He's got a shotgun in his hand and there's a fire in the background. It looks really cool, the movie poster. But of course, it has nothing to do with the movie itself, which was a bit of a disappointment after watching 10 to Midnight and Murphy's Law. More like this, Kinjite, Forbidden Subjects, Murphy's Law, Assassination, and The Evil That Men Do. All of which are Karate Man recommendations, not coincidentally. Kinjite, Forbidden Subjects, looks like it has some half-naked Asian babe in it. Wives and children of Mormon Orville Beecham become victims of a massacre in his own house. The police believes the crime had a religious motive. Orville doesn't give any comment on the case, is taken into protective custody. Journalist Smith persuades him to help him in the investigation, and he finds out about economic motives for the murder. That's the storyline from Tom Zerner. Email tom.zerner@informatic.unierlangen.de. The tagline is, "What the cops can't do, he will." Director J. Lee Thompson fell ill during the making of this film. The picture was finished by second unit director Robert C. Ortwin Jr. Maybe that's why it wasn't that good, because J. Lee Thompson fell ill. During the car chase, Smith's car is on the inside of one of the tankers on the first corner out of the tunnel, but in the next shot, it's back in the middle of both tankers. Garrett Smith punching the assassin. Bastard child killer. That's the quotation. While punching the assassin, he's beating the crap out of him rather effortlessly for somebody who's in his 70s. Alternate version. Almost 5 minutes were cut in Finland for VHS distribution, later released on DVD as uncut. Referenced in Best of the Worst, our VHS collection, 2019. All right, here's a review from Soul1218, dated November 20th, 2003 on IMDb. Soul1218 is giving it a rating of 6 out of 10, and the title of Soul218's movie review on IMDb is Blood and Water Don't Mix. Charles Bronson plays investigative reporter Garrett Smith for the Denver Tribune in this motion picture about a blood feud between two brothers of different Mormon sects, with outside political as well as economic overtones. A decent story about religious jealousy and the behind-the-scenes politics of exploiting it. the feud between brothers Willis, Jeff Corey, and Zenas, John Ireland. Beecham is instigated with Willis's sons, Orville's Charles Dierkop family is murdered. Willis believes that it was the work of Zenas, and he starts an all-out war against his brother, which ends with both brothers getting killed. But there's something else that has nothing to do with the feud between the brothers that's central to the story. A lake of artesian water under brothers Zenas property that can be used to turn common and plentiful shale into valuable and scarce fuel oil. Charles Bronson is still believable at age 67. I put him in the 70s. I always add extra years to Charles Bronson, especially when he's with the young 20-something actresses like Murphy's Law. I tended to exaggerate the age difference in Murphy's Law, and Karate Man caught me adding a few years. Anyways, he's actually 67, not in his 70s. I stand corrected. Charles Bronson is still believable at age 6 as the tougher, as well as his typewriter to uncover the truth about Orville's family being murdered, as well as who ordered it that instigated a war between his father and uncle and why. With the exception of the beginning of the movie, Messenger of Death cuts down on the violence and concentrated more on the story, which made the movie more interesting to watch. I thought it was boring. Played like a TV movie. There's no nudity or violence. And also gave the audience more time to think who's behind the murders that happened to the Orville Beecham family, which built up a better than average ending. And that I agree with. The ending was decent. If they would have cut down on the rest of the movie, it would have been more interesting. And the movie is only an hour and 30 minutes. What'd I say? Hour 31 minutes. Excuse me. I'm off by a minute. But anyways, skip the rest of the movie and go to the ending. Unless we're talking about the car chase scene. The car chase scene and the ending are the reasons to watch this. The rest of the movie sucks. The ending of Messenger of Death, though a bit contrived and what seemed forced, still tied the story together and made it believable. One of Charles Bronson's best later efforts when he was still effective as an action hero, or in this case, an action reporter on the screen. I'm glad you made that distinction. Anyways, Adrian's in the chat room. He says, "Hi, mate. It's been a while. I'm here. I can't imagine him as a news reporter. Sorry, reporter. Thanks for the background on this film." All right. Good day, mate. I guess Adrian woke up. Karate Man's nowhere to be found. Find? I'm a little tired. I woke up from a nappy poo and I watched Messenger of Death, which was an okay movie, not a great movie. I told you the key points in the movie that piqued my curiosity, and the rest of the movie sucked, basically. And I'm being generous here because IMDb rating, an average of 3,500 users, is a 5.4 out of 10, and I'm giving it a 6 out of 10. All right. So Adrian is in the chat room. He's no longer chatting. I'll go through my movies list. First up is The Birds, 1963, with one of the hottest blondies that Hitchcock kept going to numerous times. She played Marnie. The Birds, 1963, number one on the list. And then Not Wanted, 1949, is second on the list. And then third on the list is Kinjite, Forbidden Subjects, 1989. I'm interested to see Kinjite. I'm liking the movie poster with the half-naked Asian babe. I want to see what that's all about. So we'll check those out next week. I don't know if I can finish The Birds, but I'll try to get to it. I'll try to finish it up Monday. And I don't know if it's free or rental. We'll find out shortly. But I might start it. I'm thinking I might start it tonight and finish it up Monday night. But then again, I got to wake up early and add some Ned Beatty movies to my list. Oh, Adrian's gone. Okay. He did a quick in and out just like Karate Man yesterday. Cool. So we'll add some more Ned Beatty movies to the list. Tomorrow morning, if I could wake up early, I'm going to cook some tacos now and see about starting The Birds, depending on whether or not it's free or pay for rental, 48-hour rental. We'll see. Laters.